Okay, so I haven't uploaded in over 4 months and wanted to come back strong, but this is not what I had imagined. I thought I'd somehow film in an aesthetic location for my comeback, but it seems I've somehow no-clipped into this lovely space. If you're not careful and you no-clip out of reality in the wrong areas, you'll end up in the backrooms, where it's nothing but the stink of old moist carpet, the madness of mono yellow, the endless background noise of fluorescent lights at maximum hum buzz, and approximately 600 million square miles of randomly segmented empty rooms to be trapped in. God save you if you hear something wandering around nearby, because it sure as hell has heard you. This quote, coupled with the image you've just seen, is basically what kickstarted the legend of the Backrooms, and is the reason why I'm now walking along this endless hallway that smells of a high school computer lab and childhood disappointment. Because that, my friends, is how an internet mythos, or more accurately, creepypasta, is born. One cursed photo, one ominous sentence, and a million of people going, yo, what if this were real? Of course, the internet being the internet, things escalated from there. After a user on 4chan left this comment on a digital breadcrumb of existential dread back in 2019, it got picked up and passed along to r/creepypasta, where storytelling meets therapy, and from there on turned into r/the Backrooms, now a sprawling archive of cursed architecture and liminal dread. Imagine if IKEA, SCP, and a dying Windows XP screensaver had a baby. That's the Backrooms community. There is now a full wiki with over 900 documented levels, survivor logs, entity sightings, and architectural breakdowns. Then in 2022, a video dropped that blew everybody's brains out of their comfort zones. Filmmaker Kane Parsons, alias known as Kane Pixels, made a short video titled The Backrooms Found Footage, which later turned into a series on his channel. This ominous video went viral and sits at over 67 million views as of the recording of this video. It became a canon entry in the Backrooms lore. If the original 4chan post was the Bible, this was the Hollywood blockbuster movie adaptation. I'd be remiss not to mention that this video series by Kane Pixels has expanded so much since then and comes with a bunch of interesting lore and details. So for those of you interested, I've left the links to it down below and also the links to a few of the breakdown videos because I truly find them so fascinating. Now, where to go, where to go, where to go? Wrong way, probably wrong way. Logically, we're somewhere around level 0 right now, which is the first and one of the most infamous floors of the Backrooms. You usually enter the Backrooms by no-clipping out of reality, a term coined by the video game community. I realized something felt wrong with these endless rooms and hallways that repeat, but not quite. Every now and then a chair is facing the wrong way, or there are stains on the carpet that weren't here before. They say you can wander here for weeks without finding food, exit, or any logical layout. Oh, and the entities. We'll get to those later. But for now, let's just say, if you hear footsteps and you're alone, you're really not. Now let's say you survived level 0 and found your way out. Great! Wrong. You've just fallen deeper and entered level 2, also known as pipe dreams, the maintenance tunnels. Level 2 looks like what you'd get if Silent Hill makes a boiler room. It's hot, it's loud, and smells like burnt plastic and ghost sweat. The hallways are long and narrow. The lights barely work and you constantly hear metal creak and pipes hiss as if something is continuously working and the walls are breathing themselves. This level is considered more dangerous. You're basically playing hide and seek with creatures that don't need to eat, sleep, blink, or need any emotional support. My best advice, stay quiet, stay cold, and don't open any doors that weren't there 5 minutes ago. And that all is just to start into the normal levels. There are sub-levels, secret levels, nameless levels, special levels. The Backrooms aren't just one place. They're a whole ecosystem of uncomfortable. And the deeper you go, the less the law of physics might apply, and the more your memories might start glitching. Because why stop at basic trauma when you can build a fully immersive, multi-dimensional HR department for it? Now, where did I come from again? 2019 was like yesterday, and yet the backrooms feel like they crawled out of Windows 95. They're soaked in early internet energy, 90s core analog dread, and the crusty edges of Web 1.0. What fascinates me about the backrooms isn't just the horror. It's a communication happening through architecture and space. This isn't just creepy storytelling, it's an aesthetic system. A language made of architecture, vibes, and collective unease. In a study on the cultural function of the backrooms, researchers describe it as an internet legend built on liminal spaces and collective memory. Internet aesthetics like the backrooms aren't niche, they are the most reliable expression of the zeitgeist. They influence and reveal how we see the present and imagine the future. The backrooms weaponize so-called liminal space, which are transitional zones like dentist office, parking spaces, or stairwells. Space is not designed to be lived in, just moved through. There are half places, in-betweens, but familiar to all of us just by living our everyday life. And there is a name for the exact mood it creates, kenopsia. The eerie vibe of a place usually full of people now being completely empty. This eerie vibe speaks to our recognition and duct tapes nostalgia and dread together. This is where hauntology comes in, a term coined by philosopher Mark Fisher. It basically means a nostalgia for futures that never happened. A longing for the world we were promised but never got. The backrooms are haunted not by ghosts but by unfulfilled potential. By timelines that glitched and collapsed in childhood spaces that forgot to age. There's also something poetic about how the backrooms, a purely digital phenomena, feel so tactile. You can nearly smell the wet carpet or imagine yourself feeling the buzzing of the fluorescent lights. The sense that your childhood trauma was given floor plans. You're in a world that's not quite dead, not quite alive. And that makes you remember, or at least makes you think that you do remember. It's what one researcher whose paper I'm also going to link down below called undead architecture. I think one of the best parts about this aesthetic, though, is that it didn't come from museums or art galleries. It came from internet natives, from 4chan threads, from Reddit responses, from weird TikToks and community-built wikis. And of course, the internet being the internet, people didn't stop at one creepy hallway. They built an entire universe. Levels, entities, survival guides, maps, factions, stories, Reddit debates, YouTube blockbusters, and even going so far as to develop indie games. This feeling of community and communal creation is definitely a driving force behind the creativity of all of this. And the basic concept and easy recognition of the idea makes it simple for anyone to join in. It's digital folk horror, a mythology that derived not from one author, but from millions of contributions. And there's something equally poetic and uneasy about that. It kind of breaks down the idea that meaningful art only comes from institutions or serious creators. The backrooms prove that millions of people casually uploading weird dreams and liminal TikToks can create something emotionally resonant, something that says something real about fear, memory, and the weirdness of modern life. In a way, it's our creative subconscious rendered in web, and the internet is part of the creative process, connecting all of us together. What inspires people to continuously add to the lore of the backrooms isn't just how creepy they are. It's that they feel endless, but in a bureaucratic way, like purgatory, run by HR. It's just familiar enough to mess with your head. There's a psychological concept called the uncanny valley. It usually refers to humanoid robots or digital faces that look almost human, and that almost is where it gets creepy. Think animatronics, AI-generated faces, lifelike dolls. It's familiar, but off. Basically, the closer something gets to looking human without actually being human, the more it creeps us out. The backrooms do the same thing, but with buildings. The layouts we've all seen before. School basements, malls, corporate hallways, pools. Places we've passed through, but never stayed in. Liminal spaces. And that's the trick. They're just familiar enough to mess with your head, and just weird enough to make you want to leave. You feel like you've been here before, but you also know that you're not supposed to be here. And that tension is the backbone of the backrooms horror. Even Freud defined the uncanny, das Unheimliche, as the moment when the familiar becomes strange and the safe becomes threatening. The backrooms take what we know, what feels safe, and stretch it just enough to break the rules. And once that illusion snaps, once you realize that something as basic as a hallway or a room no longer plays by reality's rules, you've got yourself a horror scenario that basically anyone can relate to. Add in some faceless entities, some looping architecture, and a survival log from a previous victim, and boom. It's not about blood or violence, it's about being in a place that shouldn't exist, but somehow does. What makes the backrooms so effective and so haunting is that there's no jump scare, no final boss. Just the slow realization that something is deeply wrong, and that no one is coming to help you. It It plays on what horror psychologists call existential dread, fear not of harm, but of meaninglessness, disconnection, and entrapment. Anyway, as you can see, I've somehow made it out, I guess, and unless I no-clip into another weird place, I'm back to reality, or at least this digital reality that you're seeing me in right now. And I have so many more ideas for videos. So first of all, thank you so much for staying until the very end. I hope you enjoyed this very random video once again. I do have so many ideas for more random videos, and now that it's summer and have a little bit more time on my hand, I'm very excited to go back into what I wanted to say something about creative juices, but that sounded wrong in my mind. But yeah, I want to get the creative juices back flowing and like just explore some things that I'm interested in, because you will never know what the next video will be. There is no theme here. There's just whatever I'm interested in. And luckily, I'm a person who's always interested into something else every week. I have no shortage of video topics, honestly. The only shortage I have is time. Anyway, like, comment, and subscribe, and don't follow any weird humming or buzzing, because you might just no-clip into the Backrooms, and maybe you won't be as lucky as I was and get back here. And trust me, it's not a place where you want to stay forever. But as always, thank you so much for watching this video. Have a nice day, have a nice night wherever you are, and bye, be back on my channel.